Hi everyone, it's the new year, 2021, and it's time to get moving and finish up my January agenda page. I hope that you enjoy the speed paint as I talk about really whatever pops into my head. So if you've been following me for a while, you know that I love working in my Jane Davenport Midori book and that I use it as an art journal / agenda. When I started working in it, I didn't know what I wanted the setup to be, but the more I worked on it in 2020, my format emerged out of nowhere and it became quite an effective tool. So each month I have 4 elements that I put on my front page. That's writing down the month, in this case January, and then I have a little calendar in the corner where you just see the days. Then I have this art section and my goal section. Now, writing down the month and making that little tiny calendar in the corner, I don't know if you got a clear picture of it right now, but later on you'll see the top portion, so I'll just leave it to that. Those are pretty easy to figure out. There's not much explaining. But now the art section. The art section has been so good. It's such a low pressure commitment because I'm working so small. I'm actually working on a piece of paper that's less than 4 inches by 4 inches. And if I mess up, it doesn't feel like I wasted my supplies or my time. And I really have no rules about what kind of art I will do for that section. So when I do F up, I just usually collage over top of it, and it's easy enough to do, and it's the second chance that we all want for our bigger pieces that we mess up, but it's just harder to achieve because it is demotivating, it takes a lot of time, it uses up a lot of supplies, so it doesn't really have that freeing effect. Yeah, working larger can feel scary and like you have to be careful with what you do and be very precious with your supplies, which usually equals not doing anything and creating an art blog. So working small has really got me moving, and it's nice to have this collection of artwork at the end of the year to look over, and that way you can see how you've changed or where you've improved. My 2020 book, I missed a few months when COVID became a thing, but once I was able to figure out my life and my kids' life and how to incorporate hand sanitizer into every aspect of my life, once that was all figured out, then it was pretty easy to jump back in to this setup. So with this piece, I'm working in a mixed media fashion, and I'm using watercolors, gouache, and pencil crayons. Now, if you don't know the difference between watercolors and gouache, gouache is referred to as an opaque watercolor, which means that you can layer the light colors over top of the dark, and with watercolors, you have to work light to dark. But let's pause that talk for a minute because there's some footage coming up, and I just want to jump into that recorded part of the video, and afterwards I will discuss more about the materials. Yeah, so I didn't have a plan going into this. I kind of was just winging everything, like the colors and stuff. So you can see here I didn't like how I did the January section, so I completely collaged over it and started again. And I think the reason why I chose to do an eye is because in the other piece, I was working so small, I couldn't get a lot of details into her eyes. And I kind of just wanted to go there and make myself feel better and have that moment where I'm working on a very detailed eye. Oh my god, this moment coming up, watching it back is just like, what kind of technique is this? Like, it reminds me of like an anime show, and I'm doing fury swipes to get rid of these eraser shavings. Like, Like, who does that? So I've mentioned having to work light to dark with watercolors, and I just want to branch into gouache a little bit because I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. It's more of an opaque medium, and so it can lay on top of darker colors. You can put light colors on top of dark colors, and it really blends well with watercolor, and that's why I like doing mixed media, especially right now when I'm trying to learn everything. It just helps me to correct and enhance, and it's beautiful to work with both of them together. I also like using pencil crayons. They're one of the ways that I like to outline my piece. I really struggle with outlining, and I'm still figuring it out, but right now pencil crayons are the best way for me. So I recently invested in a set of 36 Prismacolor Premier pencils, and I really like them. They have so much pigment in them. They're easy to blend. They're nothing like I've experienced working with cheaper pencil crayons, and so they are more expensive than like a set of Crayola, but I would really suggest them. And when I think about it, they're not really expensive. I think I spent less than $40 for that 36 set. And when you're looking at pencil crayons like Faber Castell or Caran d'Ache, I think is what it's called, those pencil crayons are so much more expensive. And the Prismacolors are worth it. I have been branching into Faber-Castell pencil crayons, but I can't afford a full set, so I went to my local art store and I bought 12 pencils because they sell them individually, and I focused on getting colors in the skin tone range, blush tones, and shadow tones. So I just really wanted to check them out and see what they were like, and I found that they have a thicker lead, so they're able to stay sharp for longer compared to the Prismacolors, and that's really helpful when you're outlining skin and if you're doing like long strokes, because sometimes with the Prismacolors, when you're doing a long stroke, it's so soft that it wears the pencil down and then you have to resharpen it. I hope that made sense, but I use the Prismacolor pencils in a lot of things. I'm able to get a lot of detail. I use it in the hair, and it can be achieved with the Prismacolors. It's just a matter of preference. And yeah, I really like both of them for different reasons. So that's the art section, and below is my goal setting section. I started picking 3 goals to accomplish during the month, and they don't have to be super big goals. They can be very small, and they don't have to be related to art. And it's just been nice giving myself a specific direction to go in, and then being able to recognize when I accomplish those things. It's very motivating, and it helps me keep organized and figure out what the hell I'm doing. And the back side of the page, I kind of use that space to write down the details of things that I have to do during the month. So on the calendar, you can see that I have like pink highlighter marks and yellow highlighter marks. It's because I have to do something specific on that day, and I'll just write that in the back of the page. Well, I did it. I didn't know what to talk about, so I hope that you kind of get an idea of my agenda, that you had fun. If you guys have any comments, leave them below. I'd love to hear from you, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!